Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Hatha Yoga class. So for today's class, we're going to do a little bit of flow, and then we're going to end with a little bit of slow. So I would recommend for you to have, for today's class, a cushion or a block that you can sit upon. Also, it could be helpful to place underneath your knees for Shavasana. You might choose to have some yoga blocks to help you access the floor a little bit more easily, and also to help give you a little bit more comfort and when we work through some of our seated postures. And you might also choose to have a blanket and a strap. Of course, none of these props are necessary. They're all simply suggestions to help your practice be a little bit more like you and a little bit more suited to whatever your needs are today. So let's commence by taking a seat. So I'll invite you to join me on the floor with some breath awareness and a warm up. So coming to sit, if that feels right for you. If you would prefer to lay down, that's fine as well. Just taking a position of comfort as we use the first few moments of class, just to check in to see how we're doing today. So as you're ready, taking a seat, you might choose to sit on your cushion with your legs crossed or legs extended, or alternately, you might choose to check in a supine posture, laying down on your back or on your side or even on your front. Just whatever feels best for you, go ahead and find that form. And then once you've found a place that you're comfortable and have accessed whatever props you need to help you feel the most relaxed that you're able to in this moment, I'll invite you to perhaps close your eyes if that feels right, or you might also choose to allow your eyes to remain open and just sit gently, lowering the gaze, allowing the eyes to soften. Just taking a few moments here to check in with ourselves, with our body, our mind, our heart, and just notice what might be present. So with the physical body, maybe you might start by noticing what parts of your body are making contact with the surface that you're resting upon. And just noticing the points of contact. Perhaps noticing what parts of your body are touching itself. So that could be your hands resting in your lap, or your eyelids touching, or your lips touching. And you might want to explore a little further by beginning to become aware of where you might be feeling a sense of easefulness or peacefulness or relaxation in your body. Alternately, you might also choose to explore any areas that feel tense or restricted, anywhere that you might notice any tension present. Just checking in with how your body is feeling at this time. And then if you feel ready, you might choose to explore any sensations in the mind, simply noticing what thoughts are present, what thoughts are drawing your attention. Not necessarily getting caught up in the story of whatever thoughts are present, just simply noticing what tends to be popping up into your mind as we prepare for our practice this day. And then finally, maybe noticing any sensations in the heart, Noticing emotionally how you're feeling, whether you're feeling energized or lethargic, restless or peaceful, happy, calm, agitated. Just simply noticing, letting go of the expectation of having to be a certain way or experience a certain sensation, and really just allowing there to be space for whatever it is that you're feeling at this time in this moment. And then allowing awareness to move away from emotions or sensations on the heart and just drawing it back to the physical sensation of breathing. So simply noticing perhaps the presence of the breath, noticing the inhalations and the exhalations. You might choose to explore where sensations are most present in the body while breathing. So perhaps noticing sensations around the nose or the nostrils. Maybe noticing sensations around the aperture of the nostrils. And perhaps sensations in the throat or chest are more prominent. So just noticing any sensations of breath through the upper chest or the throat area. It might be that you are most aware of the breath through the rib cage or even the lower belly. And really anywhere where you are noticing sensations of breath, just choosing the place that feels most tangible to you, most dominant for you, and just allowing attention to rest there. Simply noting the inhalations and the exhalations, and feeling into the rhythm of the breath. Perhaps noticing the texture of the breath. And just using this breath awareness to draw our attention a little deeper into ourselves. Good. And then as you're ready, expanding that attention now back to encompass the entire body, noticing the body and its position on the floor, slowly opening the eyes if they were closed or widening the gaze. And if you were laying down, just turning over onto one side. And the invitation is for everyone to make their way into standing. So again, just taking your time, moving slowly. If you were laying down, we want to give time for our body to calibrate to the movement. And then just coming into standing. And invitation to move to whatever edge is the top edge of your mat. And I would encourage you to have your blocks available, perhaps on either side of your mat. And you might even choose to have your blanket available as well if you feel like you need a little bit of extra padding underneath of your knees. So coming to a stance where the feet are comfortable width apart, perhaps hip distance apart, and pressing all four corners of the feet, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and then the inside and outside of the edges of the heel into the floor, maybe bending your knees and doing a little bit of a shift, just exploring some movement here, keeping your feet connected into the earth, but just shifting the knees, maybe even doing some side bending here, just whatever feels intuitive for you, just to allow a little bit of movement to come into the body. This might be the most movement you've done all day. So just giving yourself a chance to explore and see what feels good. Perhaps drawing some circles with the elbows and the shoulders. Again, no big rule here for how you want to move, just exploring and seeing what needs to be shifted and shimmied as we prepare to move into our flow practice. And then when you feel like you've done all the wiggles, coming to stillness for a moment here, allowing the gaze to soften, closing the eyes if it feels right for you. Otherwise, just softening the eyes and just taking a moment just to reconnect with the breath here and standing, noticing the inhalations and the exhalations. As we continue to allow the breath to move in the background, start to bring your awareness down into the feet and into the ankle joint. Taking a moment to then take the knees and see if you can stack them directly above the ankles. The hips stacking above the knees. Maybe taking awareness into the lower section of the abdominal area and just creating a little bit of activation there. So just the slightest a bit of tension, perhaps the visual of just gently drawing your lower belly away or inward from your pants. As you do that, exploring a little bit of length through the spine. Allowing the seat to tuck down ever so slightly, shoulders back, arms just hanging comfortably at your side, drawing the chin in ever so slightly so that creates a little bit of a lengthening in the back of the neck. And then perhaps visualizing a string pulling the top of your head, the crown of your head towards the sky. So just taking a moment here as we've taken time to set up in our first form, our first pose, mountain pose, Tadasana. And just really feeling the connection of the earth into the feet into the earth, creating a sense of length through the body. And just allowing yourself a few moments of stillness here. Finding strength and stability in this standing form, this mountain form. And we'll move this into a small sequence, a half salutation. So as you inhale, invitation here is to take the arms to the sky, reaching the fingers up. And then I like to bring my palms together here as I draw down the midline, bending the knees, sending the seat back as we fold forward towards the earth. And I like to use my blocks just to create a little bit more of an easier reach towards the floor, letting the head hang. And then walking the hands to the thighs, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold here, reaching through the crown. And then exhaling to fold down, maybe letting the head hang. And then pressing into the feet and just rolling up like a rag doll, one vertebrae at a time. Reaching the arms to the sky. Maybe if it feels right, taking the gaze towards the ceiling. And then exhaling, bringing the hands down the midline. Once again, palms resting at the heart. And then releasing the arms down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling to reach, taking your time here. Exhaling, really exploring the sensations with this movement. Noticing the little nuances, the shifts in balance. Hands to thighs, flattening through the spine. Keeping a bend in the knees as much as feels right for you this practice. Exhale, folding down. Pressing down into the feet like a rag doll, rolling up. Really giving your body a chance to move through all the forms, reaching the arms to the sky, maybe gazing upwards towards the hands and then bringing the palms down to the heart chakra and then releasing the arms down. Let's do that one more time. Reaching, taking time here, slowing the breath, taking full breath. Really exploring, investigating, noticing the different sensations that come up as we move through the different forms. Pressing down into the feet, hands to thighs. Reaching through the crown. And then folding forward once again. Pressing down into the feet, rolling up. And we're just going to do a small change here at the top of this movement, taking the hands to the sky, grasping the left wrist with the right hand and just side bending to the right as you press the left foot down into the earth, opening through that left side body. And then inhale, coming to center, grasping the right wrist with the left hand, pulling to the left as you side bend left, once again, pressing down with the right foot into the floor. Inhaling, oh, I just gave myself a little adjustment. And then exhaling, hands down the midline. And taking the arms long. And just take a moment now, if it feels right for you, just to turn your awareness inwards and just explore and see if any space was created. See if it feels a little bit more spacious, maybe through the torso, maybe through the backs of the legs, maybe through the back of the neck. Maybe there's no difference, and that's just as important as noticing any change. All right, we're going to move this into a flow with some lunges. So as we inhale, reaching the hands to the sky, remembering that you can take the movements as quickly or as slowly as you feel is best for you today. Exhaling to fold. The breath I'm cueing is my breath. There's no need to breathe like I do, just as long as you're not holding the breath. Reaching through the crown, flattening through the spine. Exhaling, fingers to toes. Let's take the right leg back into a long lunge. And we're just going to pause here in this long lunge within the elevated. We can rock forwards and backwards. It's okay for that left knee to come a little bit forward of the ankle. Okay, we're just exploring movement here. And then let's step that right leg up. Hands to thighs. And then hands to blocks. And let's take the left leg back. Once again, it's okay to come a little bit forward of the toes here. See if you can keep that right heel down, just rocking it, letting the hips know that they're going to be put into action here. And then let's step the left foot forward, hands to thighs. And fold down. Let's take the right leg back again this time. And let's take the knee down. And let's pause here for a moment. Now you can leave your back foot toes tucked under, or you can flatten the back foot, totally up to you. And let's just go into a little bit of a sit back with our seat, but we're going to keep this left heel down. So as you sit back, stretching the left leg, but keep the heel down. So this is going to give us a little bit of a stretch down the front of the foot. And then inhale, send the heart forward. Exhale, stretch back. Again, inhale, send the heart forward. It's okay for that knee to come a little forward of the ankle. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural movement. The only time you need to be a little bit wary is if that's causing some discomfort in your knee. So just modify as needed. Exhale and press back. Maybe allowing yourself to fold a little bit more through the waist Still really pressing those toes down, sending the seat back. You can even move your blocks back. And then inhale to come forward. Let's tuck the back foot toes. Come back up into your long lunge. And we're going to step that right leg forward. And we're going to do the same pattern with the left leg. So taking the left leg back, placing the knee down. You can untuck the back foot toes if that feels right. Just pause here. Now the goal is to not let the weight sink all the way down through that left hip. Think of pulling the left knee towards the right heel and the right heel towards the left knee. So there's a little bit of buoyancy here. You're not just dumping down into that front of the hip joint. There's a little bit of buoyancy. And then let's walk it back. Let's keep this foot toes pressing down, stretching through the front of that right ankle. And then come forward. Remember, it's okay to let that knee go forward. A little bit of the heel, the ankle, pardon me. And then let's press back. So you're going to feel a bit of a stretch up the back of the right leg. Keep those toes touching down. Inhale, let's come back. Exhale. And then we're going to transition into our downward facing dog. So at this point, it might be good to move your blocks out of the way, bring your hands to the earth, tuck your back foot toe under, extend that leg, and then just take that right leg back. And let's come into our downward facing dog. Let's keep our knees bent to start here. Let's make this a little bit movement based. So let's take the hips side to side. You might choose to pedal your feet. You might choose to take your legs wide. So whatever you want to do here, this room is for you to explore. Again, moving in a little bit more intuitively, a little bit less traditional in the static form, but just really allowing your body to explore. So today's practice will be focused more on flowing and exploring here, moving slowly, but taking advantage of movement and using movement to create more information for us with regards to what our body needs. And if you feel like you've sort of explored enough, bring your feet back to about hip width apart. Keep the knees bent, send the hips high to the sky as you press back with the hands. And we're going to transition to the floor. So let's take ourselves forward into our tall plank. You might need to move your hands forward a little bit. Bring your knees down, and then however you can, just bringing your chest and chin all the way down to the floor here as we take it down. The forehead can come down, and we're going to do a couple rounds of little cobra, a couple different variations. So let's take the tops of the toes and press the toenails down into the earth as you reach the legs long away from you. You might want to strengthen the fronts of the thighs, really reaching the legs long. Hands are going to come under the shoulders, and we'll start with a little cobra here. So rolling the shoulder blades back, coming into a little cobra, and then taking it down. And again, coming into a little cobra, and then taking it down. Let's try one more. Coming into this little cobra, dragging the nose, coming into a gentle extension here, and then taking it all the way down. Now we're going to add on something a little bit different. Let's take the left hand, and you're going to stack it under your head. You're going to turn your head to look to your left elbow. So your right cheek is going to be resting on the back of your left hand, and your right arm is going to come down to the floor. So reaching those legs long behind you, we're just going to do a little bit more exploration here and extension. We spend a lot of our day flexing forward, so we're just going to, bolster our extension capabilities here. So here we go. Keeping your head, hand, and elbow connected. As you inhale, keep the lower body still, but lift the head, hand, and elbow. And then exhale to come down. And then let your body completely relax. Take a breath. Let's do it again. Inhaling, head, hand, and elbow come up. And then exhaling, nice and slow, coming down. Everything relaxes, let the body relax. Full breath in, full breath out. We're going to do one more, and I'd like you to take your attention to your lower back, and I'd like you to really think about the contraction that's happening there. So feeling the muscles that are shortening on that lower left side of your back. So here we go, inhaling. And we're going to come down slow for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just let everything relax. You can stack your hands one on top of the other. And just do a little bit of side to side with the hips. So just checking in and seeing how this feels on your body. Again, we're doing a combination of a little bit of yoga, a little bit of a modality called somatics, really using movement and flow to help us to explore how our bodies are feeling in this moment as we move and as we become still. All right, turning your head back to the same position, right arm down at your side, turning your head to look to the left. Your right cheek or temple is on the back of your left hand. We're going to do that same movement with the upper body, but we're going to add the right leg as it extends. So as you lift that arm, head, and hand on that left side, take the right leg just off of the floor, reach it long, feel the contraction across the right glute and the left low back, and then slowly come down. And then let everything turn off and relax. So completely off, take a breath here. Let's do the same thing. Let's come into that gentle extension, head, arm, and hand, and opposite leg. And let's take it all the way down, nice and slow, nice and slow, nice and slow. Let everything relax. Let's do it one more time here on the left side. Let's take that head, arm, and hand, and the right leg coming up. And then let's come down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing your head to neutral. And if you want, you can turn your toes out to come into crocodile pose. So there's a little bit of a lateral rotation. Now, if this bothers your ankles, your feet, your knees, or your hips, you can keep your legs parallel. But if you want to explore this external rotation with me, feel free to do so. And again, just noticing any sensations in the body. So we're using tonight's practice to really focus in on how our body is experiencing itself at a physical level. All right, we're going to do the whole thing on the other side. So let's take the legs back to parallel. You're going to take your left arm down at your side, palm up, and then just turn your head to look to the right. So your left cheek or left temple is resting on the back of your right hand. Just pausing here for a moment. Your eyes are gazing towards the right elbow. You might choose to keep your eyes open, or you might have your eyes closed. Whichever feels best for you is the option that you should choose. All right, let's move into some extension work. So let's take this head, hand, and elbow up as you inhale on the right side. Thinking about that contraction on the right side of the low back, and then exhale, slowly coming down. And taking a full breath here as you inhale and exhale, letting your body completely relax between repetitions. And we're going to do it 2 more times, inhaling to come up. And then exhaling, slow, 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 all the way down and relaxing. So using the somatic practice to unravel any tension in the body. Let's do 1 more. Inhaling, let's come up. And then exhaling all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, nice and slow. And then you can come back to center that crocodile pose if it feels right for you. Again, just noticing what's going on in the body, noticing areas of tension, noticing areas of easefulness. Okay, let's move into 3 repetitions with the upper body and the leg combined. So once again, left arm down at your side, turning to face your right elbow, left cheek resting on the back of the right hand. And then as you're ready, we're going to do that upper body movement, but we're going to add the lifting of the opposite leg. So as you inhale, right arm, right elbow, right hand lifts as the left leg lifts, really feeling the contraction through the left gluteal area and the right low back. And then slowly, slowly, slowly coming down, all the way down, really taking your time on that down phase. And when you get to the floor, completely relax. So try to let go of any tension, turning everything off. We'll do that 2 more times. So as you're ready, inhaling to lift up, exhaling that slow, slow down. And then turning everything off. Let's do 1 more. Inhaling, let's take that up. And then let's do the slow 8 count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way down. And then coming back into your crocodile pose. Or keeping the legs parallel. Your choice here. Letting your body just sort of settle. Taking your attention inwards and just checking in to see if anything is coming up, any physical sensations, or maybe there's a strong emotional reaction. Awesome. And then we're going to bring our legs back to parallel. Let's take our hands underneath of our shoulders and just activating that core a little bit to help us through this transition. So just creating a little bit of tension, dynamic strength through that midsection, and then pressing up onto your knees. And before we go into child's pose, I'd like to explore a little bit of cat and cow, because this for many of us might feel better than just dropping right back into child's pose. So let's start here as you exhale, tucking the tail under, rounding through the back, letting the head lower. And I'd like to invite you today to stay in this rounding and maybe explore a couple breaths here, seeing if you can send the breath into the space directly behind the heart. As you inhale and exhale. Just holding this rounded position, this angry cat form. And then when you're ready, as you inhale, you can choose to move to neutral, and then you might choose to stop at neutral, or you might choose to allow the tailbone to sort of tip up to the sky as the heart moves forward, creating a bit of an arch in your spine. And you can decide whether you want to hang out here for a breath or two. So you inhale. And exhale, knowing that this form doesn't feel good for everybody. So just choosing whatever version of this form feels best for you. And now we're going to make this a little bit more dynamic. So as you exhale, I'll invite you to round through the spine, head gently lowers. And then as you inhale, moving to neutral, maybe pausing here, or maybe coming into your cow where there's a little bit of an arch in your back. And then exhaling. And then inhaling. And then exhaling. And inhaling. And let's do one more. And then inhaling. And then coming to neutral. Now, at this point, this is where you might choose to move into child's pose or balasana. So my invitation is to take the toes together and then move the knees apart just to create a little bit more space, a little bit more width through the hips. Start to sit your seat back and see how that feels. And for some of us, we might choose to pause here, perhaps pressing with the hands to think of sending that tailbone closer towards the heels. Or if you're feeling like you're a little bit more pliable today, you might want to come all the way down, taking the forehead down, or stacking the forearms and taking the forehead to the wrists. And in this form, we're sort of restricting the ability of our chest to expand in the front of our body. And so this is a great opportunity to explore breath through the back of the body here as you inhale and exhale. Maybe exploring a little bit more spaciousness through the back body. Perhaps using the breath the way you would use a flashlight, shining it into all the corners. If you're in like your basement, maybe you're shining your flashlight into all the corners to see what's in all the nooks and crannies. And so in that way, you could visualize sending your breath into all of the nooks and crannies of the back body. Like you're shining a light or creating space. Let's take one more breath here as you inhale. And then exhale. And then just slowly making your way up, I'm going to invite you to turn over onto your back. And you're going to want to have your strap with you. We're going to do a little bit of hamstring release work. You might want to have a pillow or a cushion. I'm going to use my blanket. Just coming down onto your back. So really focusing on opening through the back body this evening, using the breath to facilitate that. Maybe as you come onto your back, just taking a moment here, allowing your hands to rest wherever they feel comfortable. Legs can be bent with the feet on the floor, or legs can be straight. And just feeling your body as it connects into the floor. Visualizing it softening more and more deeply into the floor as the earth rises up to greet your body, supporting it and cradling it. And then when you're ready, if your feet are not bent with, pardon me, if your knees are not bent with your feet on the floor, feel free to find that form. And then we're just going to take your strap, we're going to place it around the sole of the right foot. So draw the right knee into your chest, place the strap around your foot. Just give yourself a minute here and let yourself sort of check in. I like to let my hands rest on my knee, and then I just use my hands to guide my leg into a little circle here. So just using, again, these movements, the breath, to create a little bit of more space, a little bit more room within the physical body. Because it's very much correlated. If you can create more space in the physical body through these stretches and these movements, then it gives you more space within your mind. You'll find that there will be these pauses where thoughts will stop, and you'll notice that you're very intently focused, perhaps on the breath or perhaps just on the movement that's happening. All of that is so very good for soothing our nervous system in what is very trying times across the province, across Canada, and actually across the world. So let's bring this right leg up into a gentle extend position. So let's just visit here for a moment. Just extend that knee and then bring it in. Just see what that feels like. So this is the bend and stretch. And you may not get that leg completely extended, and that's okay. Just doing what feels best for you. So for some of us, this dynamic release will feel the best. So if this feels good for you, continue to stay with the bend and stretch. If, however, you would like to explore something a little bit more static, you can take that leg long and just pause here, holding the stretch, pressing the leg towards the sky. Now, again, the knee does not have to be completely straight, so it's whatever's available to you today. If you can straighten your knee and you would like to do that, then feel free to do so. See if you can keep your pelvis in a neutral position. So we're trying to stay away from tucking the tailbone up towards the sky. Maybe you might want to visualize your tailbone being heavy and resting downwards. You might choose to be here, or you could explore another option by extending the left leg, bringing the left toes towards the sky and making that left leg super strong. So the left leg is pressing out to the wall in front of you, and the right leg is pressing up to the ceiling above you. And just pause here, inhaling and exhaling. Allowing the shoulders to relax away from the ears. And then to come out of this, if your leg is straight, if your left leg is straight, let's bring that left leg in. And then using your strap, if it's possible, slowly, 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 just lowering that right leg towards the floor, and then just releasing the strap and letting the right leg just rest, feeling the length on the side of the body, maybe even closing your eyes so that you can explore a little bit more intently the sensations that are present in that right leg. And then we're going to do the other side. So as you're ready, let's bend that right knee back up so that the right foot's on the floor. And then bringing the left knee into the chest, you can take the strap around the left knee. And then once again, taking your hands on your knees and just guiding that into some circles here. Just breathing. And then let's go the other direction. You might notice that your body is starting to feel heavy and soft, relaxing more and more deeply. That's great. If that's not happening, that's great too. All right, let's move into some bend and stretch. So again, just exploring some movement here. It doesn't have to be the biggest range of motion you've got. Just giving yourself a chance to create a little bit of movement through that hip joint, send a little blood into the area. Once again, for some of us, the bend and stretch will feel the best, so you can stay here with the movement. Or for others, you might choose to join me in that static stretch. So extending the leg to a level that's comfortable for you. Noticing the stretch in the belly of the back of the thigh, right? That's called the belly, the center of the muscle, the belly. And then you might choose to stay here, or you could explore lengthening the right leg, pressing out through the right foot so that the toes are pointing to the sky. And the right leg is active. It's not just laying there like a wet noodle. Make it active as you press the right leg towards the wall in front of you, and then the left leg towards the ceiling above you. And just pause here as we inhale and exhale. Allowing your attention and awareness to come back to the breath to help you to remain in whatever form it is that you've taken. Creating space. And then we're going to transition out of this. So let's start by bringing the left leg, or pardon me, the right leg up with the foot on the floor. And then slowly you're going to start to let the left leg lower to the floor. I'm using my strap to assist me so that I'm supporting it on the way down. And then at the very end, I'm letting go, letting that leg relax. And then just pausing here for a moment as you inhale and exhale. Giving yourself a moment to explore any sensations that might be present through that left side of the body. And then bending both the knees, we're going to move into a lying twist. So the way I like to move into this form is I also like to have a block handy to help me access the floor. But to move into the form with my feet about hip width apart, the knees bent, I'm just going to lift my hips ever so slightly, and I'm going to shift my hips over to the left, and then I'm going to let my knees drop to the right. It just allows for a little bit more easeful alignment. And you can explore here. If taking both knees to the floor leaves you feeling a bit strained and overstretched, or if you find that your left shoulder isn't able to stay down on the floor, then find a block or a pillow and prop it up underneath of your right knee. And that will help take off some of the strain. You still get the benefit of the stretch, but this also allows you to keep your hands on the floor. You can have your arms extended. You can have your arms in cactus form, whatever feels best. And then if it feels right for you, you could even choose to turn your head the opposite direction. Knees to the right, head can go to the left. And I'm actually going to use my hand. I'm just going to rest it on the top of my left thigh here. Just to, make it feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more grounded. And once again, just allowing your awareness to rest on the movement of the breath. And then bringing your head to center. And to come out of this, let's start with the left leg. Take the left leg to the floor. Start to bring the left knee up. And as you do that, it will automatically bring the right leg along with it. And then you can shift yourself back to the center of your mat. Now you might choose to extend your legs down onto the floor for a little pause, or you can take your feet wide and let your knees tent inward. And then just pause here for a moment. And allowing the body to somewhat reset itself. And then bringing your legs back to parallel. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So the block is going to go on the other side. Press into your feet, pick up your hips, shift them over to the right, and then let the knees go to the left. I'm moving a little bit more because I'm trying to work around a wall here. So I'm going to use my block underneath my knees. That feels good for me today. And then I can take the right arm out straight or bent, cactus arms, whichever you choose. I'm going to turn my head to look to the right because I feel like that feels good for my neck today. Again, make sure you do you, whatever feels best for you. And I'm going to use my left hand on the top of my right thigh. I like that. Sometimes I just stroke the outside of my thigh. I feel like that feels comforting and nurturing. But again, do what feels right for you. Letting your attention rest once again on the breath. And then allowing your head to come to center, starting with that right leg, letting it come up and let that pull the left leg along with. Restructuring your hips in a nice neutral alignment. And again, taking your legs long, or maybe just taking the feet wide and tenting the knees inward. And then we're going to do one last practice. We're going to do a little bit of pranayama or breath work. So to do that, the invitation is for you to come into sitting. So turning over onto one side and then slowly coming into sitting. And I'm going to use my bolster to sit up on because that feels the best for me. You might choose to use a cushion or a block, but you want to be in a position where you feel that your spine is long and you're able to sit comfortably. We're only going to be here for about 3 minutes, but it's important that the spine is able to create some length. And we're just going to do some alternate nostril breathing. We've done this in class before. So if for whatever reason at any time, if you start to feel uncomfortable or you're not able to do the pranayama practice, the anuloma viloma or the alternate nostril breathing, then please discontinue and just continue to breathe in a way that feels natural and comfortable for you, just allowing your attention to rest on the breath. You're still going to receive the benefits of the breath practice, even if you choose not to do the alternate nostril breath. So let's take the right hand, turning the first 2 fingers down, tucking them under. So you've got your thumb and your last 2 fingers out. If for whatever reason you're not able to do this with your right hand and you choose to do it with your left hand, then feel free to do that as well. Okay, my tradition is just to do it with my right hand, and so that's how I teach it, but feel free to alternate if that feels better for you. And then the left hand can be turned palm down on the lap. So we're going to alternate breathing through the right and left nostrils by alternating closing off the right and left nostrils. So to start, let's take a natural breath in, and then a natural breath out. Closing the right nostril, let's inhale through the left nostril. Closing the left nostril, let's exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right. Close the right, exhale through the left. That's 1 round. Inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close the right, exhale through the left. Inhale left. Exhale right. So just continuing on in this pattern, and as you continue breathing here, I just want to draw your attention to the focus of the breath. So as you're breathing, the goal is to take slow, full breaths that feel comfortable and natural. And with your awareness, you can allow the awareness to rest on the flow of the breath, feeling the breath as it moves in through the right nostril, continuing to follow the breath as it moves out through the left nostril. And just noticing any sensations that are present as we continue inhaling. Exhaling right. Remembering at any time if you feel uncomfortable, you can discontinue the pranayama and just come back to your natural breath, inhaling. Knowing that you can work at your own pace, you don't need to follow my cues for breath. Just ensuring that the breath is natural and full and a little slower than what you would normally use for breath practice or for breathing day to day. Using this breath practice to bring our nervous system into balance, clears out the energy channels to the right and left of the spinal column. And helps to facilitate more balanced thinking, and just a general sense of equilibrium within the nervous system. After your next exhalation through the left nostril, you can release the breath, release the mudras or the hand positions, and just rest palms, upper palms down in your lap here. Just noticing how the body feels after that alternate breath practice. And then as you're ready, invitation for you to come into whatever form you'd like to take for your relaxation, your final relaxation, or shavasana. I'm going to remain seated for this practice, and if you feel that that feels the best for you today, feel free to stay seated. Otherwise, you might choose to come into lying on your back or on your side. Maybe you want to put a bolster underneath your knees. Maybe you want to cover yourself up with a blanket. So just take a moment to get yourself settled in for Shavasana. Our Savasana practice will be a shorter practice today. It'll be about 2 minutes. But despite the shortness in time, I still would like to invite you to make yourself as comfortable as possible so that you can feel really rested within those 2 minutes. So then as you're ready, invitation here to either allow the eyes to remain open with a soft gaze or closing the eyes, whichever feels best for you. And just taking a moment to acknowledge the rest of the body, the peacefulness of the body, allowing the body to settle into the floor. And if you don't feel restful or peaceful, that's totally okay too. Just noticing how you're feeling and then just allowing the body to be supported by the floor beneath you. I will not do a guided relaxation, but I will fall silent for the next minute to allow you to just rest here in your own experience. And then slowly allowing your awareness to come back to the space, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Maybe stretching your hands and your feet. I'm going to invite you to remain laying down, but I do want you to very consciously bring yourself back to the moment. So you might choose to stretch your arms and your legs, maybe even gently blink your eyes open and close. Just take a moment to connect back into this present moment, to allow yourself to move out of the Shavasana form. And then as you're ready, maybe taking your hands and placing them on your heart, or maybe taking your hands to Anjali Mudra, bowing your head, maybe closing the eyes if that feels right for you, and just thanking your body for the work that it's done today. Knowing that when you step onto your yoga mat, you're not only doing the practice for yourself, you're doing the practice for your family, you're doing the practice for your community, you're doing your practice for the entire planet. It allows us to be more conscious, it allows us to be more present, more open-hearted, and everyone around us benefits from that open-hearted, conscious being that we become as we step out of our yoga practice. So thank you everyone for joining me this evening. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you live your life in ease. Thank you so much. And until the next class, bye-bye.